It started with a single spark in the dead of night, a tiny flicker of flame in a baker's oven on Pudding Lane. By morning, London had become a raging inferno, devouring homes, businesses, and centuries of history. Thousands ran through smoke-choked streets, their screams drowned by the roar of the fire. People jumped into the Thames to escape, while wooden buildings collapsed into piles of burning rubble. It was August 2nd, 1666, a day that would change London forever. The Great Fire of London was not just a fire, it was a storm of destruction, a city-wide catastrophe that destroyed more than 13,000 houses, 87 parish churches, and iconic landmarks like St. Paul's Cathedral. But this disaster also became the catalyst for one of the most remarkable urban rebuildings in history. The story begins in a city of cramped streets, thatched roofs, and wooden homes that leaned so close together neighbors could shake hands across them. London in the 17th century was a tinderbox. Summer had been unusually hot and dry, and rumors of plague had emptied parts of the city, leaving abandoned homes. Smoke from chimneys, careless sparks from candles, and ovens like that of Thomas Farriner, the baker on Pudding Lane, were enough to ignite disaster. In the early hours of Sunday, September 2nd, 1666, the fire began in Farriner's bakery. There are conflicting accounts, but one thing is certain: the blaze spread quickly. Wind gusted through narrow streets, fanning the flames. Houses made of timber, covered with tar, and leaning precariously toward one another, turned into fuel. The fire leapt across rooftops, as if the city itself were alive, swallowing everything in its path. By dawn, panic had spread. Citizens grabbed whatever belongings they could carry. Horses panicked, carts overturned, and people screamed for help. Firefighting in the 17th century was primitive. Leather buckets, fire hooks to pull down buildings, and small hand-pumped engines were all London had. Attempts to create fire breaks by demolishing homes often failed, and the fire's speed outmatched human effort. The Lord Mayor of London, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, hesitated to give the order to destroy buildings as a fire break. In those crucial hours, indecision allowed the blaze to spread unchecked. Witnesses later described the fire as a sea of flames, with sparks raining like fire from the sky. As the fire spread, people tried desperate measures to escape. Some climbed to roofs or bridges, others fled in boats on the Thames. Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist, recorded the chaos in vivid detail, noting how people were forced to climb to chimneys to save themselves. Pepys himself witnessed the destruction and risked his own life to save priceless documents and belongings. St. Paul's Cathedral, an iconic medieval church, became a symbol of the city's destruction. The wooden roof ignited, and the great structure burned from the inside out. Parish churches throughout the city were reduced to piles of smoldering stone. The fire continued for 3 days, leaving London in ruins. Yet remarkably, the official death toll was recorded as relatively low, though historians suspect the true number was higher, with many poor citizens dying anonymously in the fire or from subsequent hardships. But amidst the tragedy, stories of human courage emerged. Men and women risked their lives to save others. Firefighters, neighbors, and even the King's Own Guards helped evacuate citizens and protect vital resources. Merchants used boats to carry goods down the Thames. Samuel Pepys famously saved his wine cellar by digging trenches to prevent the fire from reaching it. A small act amidst immense chaos, yet emblematic of the human drive to preserve what mattered. After the fire was finally contained on September 5th, the scale of destruction became clear. Entire neighborhoods had vanished. Maps of London had to be redrawn. Yet from these ashes came the opportunity to rebuild a better, safer city. King Charles II and his brother, the Duke of York, visited the ruins immediately. They were faced with a city that was still smoldering, streets full of debris, and thousands of displaced citizens. They took immediate steps to restore order, prevent looting, and plan reconstruction. The government also introduced new building regulations. Streets had to be wider, houses built with brick and stone rather than wood, and thatched roofs banned to prevent future fires. Architects and visionaries saw an opportunity. Figures like Sir Christopher Wren, later famous for rebuilding St. Paul's Cathedral, envisioned a city with broad streets, open squares, and monumental public buildings. While not all plans were fully realized, Wren's work gave London a lasting architectural legacy. The Great Fire accelerated modernization in ways that would have taken decades otherwise. Yet the fire left more than physical scars. It exposed social inequalities. The poor, who lived in the most overcrowded wooden homes, suffered disproportionately. They had little insurance, lost everything, and faced disease and hunger afterwards. The fire forced the city to confront these disparities, leading to improved planning and infrastructure in some areas, although recovery was slow for many. The Great Fire of London also reshaped England's approach to disaster management. Fire insurance emerged as a critical industry. The first fire insurance company, the Fire Office, was established in 1667, a direct response to the catastrophe. London became more prepared, and lessons from 1666 influenced urban planning in cities around the world. Ironically, the fire also helped prevent further catastrophe. Just a year before, London had been hit by the plague. By destroying so many unsanitary, crowded homes and businesses, the fire inadvertently removed disease-ridden areas, reducing the risk of future epidemics. The ashes became a grim but effective public health intervention. The Great Fire of London left a paradoxical legacy: destruction and renewal, tragedy and opportunity. London's skyline, reshaped by Wren's genius and modern building codes, stands as a testament to resilience. Streets widened, stone and brick replaced wood, and the city gradually became a model of urban planning. Even today, the memory of the fire remains etched in London's consciousness. Pudding Lane, where it began, is a tourist site. Plaques mark the locations of lost churches. The monument to the Great Fire of London, a 202-foot column designed by Wren and Robert Hooke, stands near the origin of the blaze, a reminder that even from total destruction, a city can rise stronger. The lesson of the Great Fire is both simple and profound. It shows the fragility of human settlements against nature and negligence, but also the resilience of human spirit when disaster strikes. One spark left unchecked can devastate an entire civilization. But that same civilization, when it chooses to rebuild wisely, can emerge safer, stronger, and more magnificent than before. By 1667, just a year after the flames, reconstruction had begun. Streets were cleaner, houses more fire-resistant, and Londoners more united. In a twist of fate, the Inferno that threatened to destroy everything instead forged the foundation of the modern city. It was a stark reminder that sometimes destruction is the prelude to creation, and that the fire of 1666, terrifying as it was, made London the city we recognize today. The Great Fire of London is not just history, it is a story of human error, divine irony, courage, and transformation. It is a reminder that from disaster there is always the chance for renewal, but only if we learn from the flames. The streets of London whisper this lesson even now, that resilience, ingenuity, and community can rise from ashes, reshaping not just buildings, but the very spirit